I don't know if it's bathroom, if that's correct.
Yeah, I don't, what's the bathroom?
It's home sanitation, I think.
Okay.
But it was, home sanitation is for the bathrooms, bathroom repair and bathroom replacement. Yeah, and what was the question?
Well, the question is, Major, is that the past 3 times that these came forward, these bids, all 3 contractors, I'm pretty sure, got the bids, same bids. Each time it came in, there was nobody different. So, and I asked Chuck if they're being bidded out, and he said they weren't being bidded out. And Tyler said that these people were selected before he got in that director's position, but he's been in a director for at least 1.5 years now. So, my question is, how could these guys get selected prior to him being the director that far back, or out back? Can I get an update on that, or because I'm confused on it?
Okay, I'm trying to go back, clear back on my emails. What I recall about this was a grant that had a time deadline, and there was a very short window to try to get this work done. And what I recall is that there was a need for several different contractors to do these bathrooms, and broke them out into, like, at first it was going to be 10 bathrooms per contractor, and then it was reduced down to 5, and they would be funded, like a half of it up front to get supplies, and then the other half at the end of their project when they completed it. And what I recall, and is Tyler on the phone? Tyler, are you there?
He is.
Yeah, I'm here.
And we're asking the bid process, Major.
What I recall is, and I probably should do more research and give you a better answer, but what I remember was they used some contractors that were approved by the, or they got some list of contractors that had performed successfully on the HIP program, and then that's how I think they identified them. And it was an emergency to get them done. The funds had to be spent. This was all like a year ago. And then I think it ended up that we got an extension on that grant. And I think these are looking at the second set of, I guess, contracts to approve. Those are the 3 that finished their projects, and then now they're getting 5 more bathrooms to complete. Is that right, Tucker? Am I saying all that right?
Yeah, you're right. This is only our second round of contracts.
But those are the 3 that completed their projects, and so now they're ready for 5 more bathrooms.
Correct, and then we'll have to, I was talking to the contracts office this past week in regards to the RFPs, because we're losing 2 contractors because they're going. So right now, we just have those 3 that were approved of.
You know what, this doesn't even sound right. Just let me say something. This doesn't even sound right. There's a bid process. And for you guys to say this was in a hurry, I mean, I know you guys got extension, but he's been in the office for 1.5 years, and the same people have been getting the same contracts. So I just don't see how there's a hurry. I mean, we could bid it out. Let's be fair about this. That's all I'm saying. Then he has trouble with one of these individuals. He came forward and said that they're just pushing him around, and this guy's still getting these contracts. That's what I'm getting at. If he can't tell people no, he should have been charged this grant. I think it just needs to go back to him where originally it was. You need to worry about getting the utilities set up, Tyler. I mean, I'm just frustrated because it's just the same people keep getting these bids, and they've got a bid process. And if you're not following it, then something needs to be done there too.
So I have Sonia and then Anna.
Yeah, I think that, Tyler did bring some concerns to us at one of our meetings about one of the contractors, but I also received a call from one of my district members. She's actually elderly from our district. and she didn't want that contractor to do any kind of work at her place. And I think he did go down there, did an assessment, and she did let me know that she did not want him to be the one to do any kind of work in her home. And so I did let Tyler know that, and I explained to him, I didn't know the reasons, she didn't tell me, but she just did not want him. So I did let him know that I did not want him going down there to do any work in her home. So he did explain to me that there's another contractor that went down and assessed the home and is gonna do the renovation. So I've been kind of keeping up on that, you know, because they call us from time to time. So I think, Tyler, you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, and her contract was approved last Friday for the contractor for her bathroom.
Okay.
They were approved last Friday, we're just waiting for XB, and the contractor that we're speaking about, he was the original contractor on that, but I removed him and he's had some words to say to me, but he moved on. And so he's on a different project, or he got a different bathroom to do. But I mean, if we want to go into executive, I'll explain why we removed him from contracts.
No, we don't need to.
And I do put my foot down with him, and so and Jackie asked me about change orders. He's not come to back to committee for change orders. That was something that we made sure of. And so we've not only had him, but we've had 2 other contractors try to come back and do change orders, but that's something the committee always, emphasis was no change orders. So we have stuck to the contracts as they were approved by the EB&D committee and then on to the executive board.
Okay, but I just wanted to share that, so I'm just kind of keeping on top of that, on that one. So hopefully when XB approves it, Tyler, that you guys will send that contractor up to start renovating the elderly woman's bathroom.
Correct. She's up first on his contract list.
All right, okay, thank you for that.
So, could I add something?
Major came, I'm gonna call on Anna, then we'll give the floor to you.
Okay, yes, thank you.
Thank you. So a few things come to mind with hearing the discussion today on the utilities program is one, earlier today we had an EBD committee referral for OST Transit to be here at Finance to talk about bids and approval on bids and the finances for their bids. So my question is, why haven't these bids been brought to committee? Because during the discussion earlier today, one of the other council representatives mentioned that this needs to come to finance, the bids needed to come to finance because it's finances. So why is it different for utilities to not bring their bids forth to committee? Anyone?
Major.
I don't have an answer to that, and I'm actually all confused on committee jurisdiction. Because you have ENBD that'll approve things that have a dollar amount. Do they go to finance, or how does that work? But anyway, I'm not sure. But what I wanted to say is there was an RFP that went out. There was a request for proposals that was drafted in July of 2025, early July, July 3rd, and it was distributed to get contractors right away. And at that time, the grant had not been extended, so there was a very short window, as I recall. And my role was basically to get a contract template put together for whoever had been selected. But there was a RFP that did go out, from what I can tell here on the email, because I reviewed it, to advertise for contractors and select or get them to submit proposals with their costs. Is that correct, Tyler? Did you read that?
Yep, that's correct.
I guess I'm still waiting for an answer on my question because that was a big issue this morning with OST Transit. So I guess Tyler, as director, why are you not bringing these to Finance Committee? Because you're saying you're waiting for XB, but I've never seen in the XB minutes that you're on there for these projects. Are you talking about a different XB? Are you trying to reference a future XB? But why are you not bringing these to Finance Committee?
Sorry, we've only done, this is our only second round of contracts with these contractors. We haven't, because of the
But you still
limited.
haven't brought them to committee.
Hold on, I'm trying to remember.
Well, we're looking for her answer to her question. I'm also looking in the financial management manual as well, and I think she brings a good point because it was stated that all bids come through finance. Were any of these brought to finance?
I think in the beginning, and that's where the RFP conversation came from with Major. And when I did bring them, there was only, at that time, there was three or four contractors. And so, and I apologize, I guess that's on me. And, I'm more than willing to give the grant up to whoever wants it. I can transfer all the documents and lists to whoever that needs to go. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, if we could get some kind of information from you on this. And also, I think you mentioned earlier that to move this to HIP program. So I'll do a motion to move this to the HIP program.
Okay, so we have a motion, we still have hand raised, and in the financial management under property supply director, it does specifically state, solicits bids for goods and services according to tribal policy, so it should have gone through the property director. So we have a motion to move, what's the name of the grant? Home sanitation?
Well, it's a grant with 5 other different programs under it, but it's called the Oyate Wichozani People of Good Health and Good something, I can't remember the rest of it, but
Okay.
that's what it's labeled under. And the grants are underneath water, or the people that are underneath this grant are our water and sewer program, the emergency management program, the rural water program, and solid waste program.
Right, so based on your recommendation or your referral that we move it to the HIP program, that's my motion for that. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Donor.
Nothing, I'll second it.
Second. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know if you guys remember, but so far the We Chose Any grant has had 2 extensions. The original writer was Leslie Mestith, and then whenever she was let go, it was referred over to the planning office. And then when the planning office was shut down by the council, then it went to utilities. There's 4 basic, goals. One is for mobile home cleanup. That's the one that's under solid waste and emergency management. The bathroom renovations was under the utilities. The water schmeal update, that was under rural water. And the water hookups was under water and sewer. The last extension they got was in September of last year. And that was to September of this year. But because they are not complete, they are requesting, they should be, whoever you give it to, or leave it at utilities or whatever, need to request that extension before the end of June. It is a ICDBG HUD grant, so we need to make sure that we follow the timelines. And I don't know, I thought that this was approved prior because they RFP'd and then under water and sewer, whenever the bathroom renovations were under water and sewer. So I believe that they were RFP'd, and then after Tyler started, he brought 10 bathrooms each, because I don't remember exactly how much, it was 100 and something hookup or renovations. And water and sewer couldn't do it. So he brought the RFPs, and he brought like 10 bathrooms for each one. And then at that committee meeting, they told him that they didn't want all of them to have 10 each, that they needed to have 5 each. And that they would do, after they did the 5, then use the same contractors for the next 5. That was my understanding. I believe that was from EB&D. And I thought at that time it went to finance. So maybe I misunderstood those actions.
This is Georgette. I'm trying to go back through old minutes and actions. I'm not sure which contracts there are. It does look, and I'll have to go back further. So some independent contracts were sent through Lynn back in September of 2025. I don't know if those would have been those or not. They were for Ferguson, Roman Horse, Janice, and Carlo.
Right.
Correct.
There was 2 other ones that they didn't want to give the contracts to. So at that time, there was like 6, I believe. But there was 2 that they didn't want to give the contracts to that committee took action on. So I know that these were, at that time, that's when they said they would do 5 at a time instead of the 10 at a time.
Okay,
Major.
well, I still have the floor as well, with another question is, Cora brought up that needs to be a request for extension for this program. Tyler, did you begin that request for extension or not yet?
I've started it. I'm just waiting on my accountant to give me the financials for it so we can submit it to the funding agency that shows the funding is being spent.
So I guess with that motion, we'd have to have you give that information to the HIP program as well if the motion goes through. Thank you.
Those contracts were brought to Finance Committee on August 28th, 2025.
Go ahead, Jackie.
My question is, Cora, for the extension, how many extensions can we get? And if we ask for an extension, how long are they asking for?
Usually a year.
A year? Also, if we change over to a different entity, is that going to affect the people who are currently waiting? Because I have a couple that are getting ready to get work done, I guess, so I just don't want them affected.
I'm going to make a comment. You know, we always get involved, and I know everybody hates the word micromanage, but this is exactly what micromanage is. We have to allow our directors to do their jobs, because we have to be consistent. If we're not consistent and we don't continue and allow them to finish what they've started, that's exactly what micromanaging is.
Major.
Yes.
You were going to respond?
No, I think I was just gonna let you know that we did find the RFP, and I wanted to say that I recall we felt like last year we didn't know if we were gonna get an extension because it was filed really late. And so that's why there was that idea to do 10 bathrooms right away with each of the contractors, and then that didn't go at committee. So that's why it was backed up and bathroom done. And then now what's before you today is just contracts for the second bathrooms for the contractors that successfully completed the first round. That's all I was gonna say.
John Ray, then
You know, I'm not really no expert on like these home renovations, but if these guys can't do 5 bathrooms within like 6 to 7 months, but they got a whole year. That's a long time for 5 bathrooms. And I'm not micromanaging, I'm just trying to be fair about this process. When this director comes in and says he has a problem with one of these contractors, says that he's going in there pushing them around and saying stuff like that, I got a problem with that. Then he comes back with another contract, that raises a red flag for me. So it's not about being micromanaging, it's just about being fair with our bid process. Because I'm tired of the same people getting their way with these bids and certain people getting away with stuff. It's time to change. Thank you.
so we still have a motion to move the Oyate Beach Hozani grant for HIP to be the oversight with all documents and recommendations for extension.
Thank you. In that motion, we'd like to make it clear that the list will remain the same. But also to be clear, when it comes to have accusations of micromanaging from the treasurer to committee, it was the director himself who said, put this under the HIP program, and these all sound like home repairs. So I don't believe that constitutes for micromanaging when that was a referral for us to decide on. But, you know, these are all home improvement renovations. So it just seems like it would go under the home improvement program.
Okay, so we have a motion. I think it was brought up at the beginning of this administration that the HIP should have been the oversight. Now we'll move forward with that, with the motion. Is it regarding the grant? Okay.
So I just want to know if we can get that HIP director on so he understands that if this passes, he's going to be assigned to it. I just want to do something and then all of a sudden he doesn't know that, oh, this is going to be under me. So I think, you know, he should have been part of the conversation. That's what we were going to do. But it sounded like, you know, we're not doing that. We're just going to give it to HIP. So I just want to make sure that HIP understands that if this passes, that he's going to be the one to oversee this grant. And that I don't want it to interfere with the list because we got people that got assessments done already, like Tyler said, it's going to start. So I don't want that to interfere with that, to push it back where HIP might say something other than that. So I wish we would have had HIP on the agenda so we could let him know that that's what we're going to do.
I believe he can be added to the HHS agenda. That's what that's the oversight committee.
And we should forward it to the HHS.
To HHS. Okay. Do you want to amend that motion?
Yeah.
How about we just bring him here? You just have to come down.
Do you have a number for him?
Do you have a number?
The HIP, in the secretary's office should.
I think, can we take a maybe 5-minute, 10-minute break before we can get out of it?
We'll do that. Right in front of you, what I had handed out is the new application form for our new Inspector General for the fraud, waste, and abuse. So it's also in your email, but I wanted you guys to have a copy so then you can also get it to your constituents as well, if there's any concerns within the
This one
community.
that she made?
Yeah.
She made this one?
And that came from Ms. Palmetier. Give us a moment so we can contact him.
Send that to Joe real quick. We'll pull you. Send it along.
Do you think you have any more questions for Majel, or can she hop out?
Major, we're done. I apologize.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Bye.
Can we go to the next agenda item, Tanya?
Let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Some of us have to leave here.
get a moving bit.
They're like chief of staff right now, are they?
Okay, next one. Youth Baseball League. Donna.
Already tell.
No, I just, with the youth baseball league, I just wanted to, I guess, is that money coming out of the, youth affairs grant, our youth affairs fund? The baseball?
The baseball, last year, it came out of, it was supposed to come out of marijuana. They didn't have a way to do it, so the revenue paid for that. So marijuana owes revenue for last year's expenditures. And this year, they weren't put in any budget. So I guess it's up to you guys.
Because, as far as I know, the reason why I was trying to wait and get it approved, because we was trying to get a youth coordinator hired so we could put all these sports underneath him so he could deal with the checks, who's signing into work, so on and so forth. Just trying to get a tracking system instead of just giving the baseball $70,000 every year. And now she's telling everybody that they got to buy their own equipment. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up is every district involved. Because last year, not every district was involved, and we had a lot of people come forward afterwards and tell us about it. And her not paying people, certain people, and we had documentation on it where she was paying her people like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and the other people from the district were getting like $50. And reports of her not paying some certain amounts. And I just want to clear that all up now so we ain't dealing with it at the end. Because if we don't deal with it now, then we're gonna get all these complaints at the end.
Oh, 2 weeks ago.
And I asked Bob about it, and Bob said that she has her own account now.
Who's that?
The baseball,
Who's it?
Amy Pond.
Is on.
What?
You didn't give them any money this year.
I'm calling.
She's been coming in here and getting checks somewhere.
I don't know where she would get checks from. I didn't see
This is Lynn.
anything for her. They should have equipment from last year,
Yeah,
because remember they used a big portion of their budget to purchase equipment.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they would make people
Oh,
purchase
Thank
equipment.
you.
Because they even purchased a bunch of like bats, game balls, bases.
Yeah, they did all that, remember that.
So they should have that equipment already.
And the year before that was the same thing too, the year
Yeah.
before that too.
No, the year before that, they got what revenue had. They got all that stuff from roaming. It was bases, balls, bats, gloves.
Well, I don't know if, well, I was just here and he asked us to leave him, and I said, no, we shouldn't, 'cause I thought you'd know something about it, but I asked him yesterday, but he's the one that told me that they had their own account. Now that's Bob's doing it, but he didn't really say he was, but he told me they have their own account, so.
So are they fundraising?
I don't know, that's what I was asking, but they're going, but I don't know, maybe it'll.
I'm calling them down now.
Did any guys, or maybe they had somebody else to fund it, I don't know.
Remember?
John, are you done?
Yeah.
Go ahead, George.
So that's what I don't need budget in for. You could probably scratch it off now to get some answers right here, but that's what was wondering, where they get the money from, because we didn't have a budget approved yet.
I asked him to keep
So
the
that was my
equipment
question.
for this coming.
Yeah.
I remember we asked him
Are
to
you
keep the.
sure you want to remove it, because that may address it as well?
Yes, you could remove that one item that I don't know.
Okay.
That in the budget, because we didn't come up with the final number with that baseball league either, because we wanted to help them, but we didn't come up with the final number, so we were just wondering if they had a source of pot of money, or they're using the budget that they did approve yet, so that's what we're here for. Discuss. Right, and I don't want to stop nothing to move it forward. That's the clarification on where's it going.
So Bob, you were requested down here regarding the baseball. We know that they're 2 weeks in, and apparently the individual who's in charge of it is receiving, is able to submit vouchers for payment, but who's been approving that, where she get paid from?
You're asking the wrong guy, because I never see the vouchers, but I was telling a couple of these guys that my grandkids play down there, and I've been talking with the umpire. He's been getting paid. By check, according to him. And they owe him $180 from last year. And he had to go through the background check, the drug test, because they were short of umpires. So I said, I'm here, I'll go through the basics. No, you have to go through the background and all that. And the youth committee didn't know that, or that they're being paid, but he said he got paid right away. I wish I was in 2 weeks was last week. Just graduated high school. Does a good job. They were there all day, 6 hours, all the games.
So I think that's a good question. Where is this funding coming from?
Don't know, but he said he was paid. And so I tried to make that clear, but I don't know.
Does anyone have a contact for Ms. Pons? She works in our Tijuana, so she should be in the vice president's office.
No one's in her?
No one's in it?
I'm just gonna put on an agenda for next week. You over next week.
There's gonna be a lot of excuse for next week.
But I don't know.
Go ahead, Bob.
We'll take care of it though.
Well, until then, maybe we should, do we need a motion to stop processing from the baseball people? Or do we just make that or do we just bring it up and then Cora can stop it upstairs to tell Cheryl?
So I also know that the guy delivering the porta potties was confused when I was watching my grandkids. So I told him where we put them every year at Onefield, but they're there.
So they do have their own.
But I never see vouchers or our checks.
They're
Bob.
somehow they're processing shit.
Right,
do
because
they,
it
Bob,
wasn't on the end of year budget either. Go ahead.
Bob, do they have their own account then?
Okay. All right.
The way it sounded, I don't know, and I have Amy's number.
Yeah. It'd be good to hear from her, because I'm curious now too. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Yeah, all right.
I just talked to Cheryl, she said there was one check printed, it was a voucher from Marijuana Commission, whatever it's called. And, but she told them after it was processed that they couldn't reuse their money from last year, she told Justin. And that it wasn't supposed to go through, so they brought the check back and there's been no money given to the baseball, summer youth baseball.
But then again, it shouldn't have been processed because a month ago, there was a motion to stop all spending from the marijuana, so.
Right, that's why Cheryl stopped it and told them to bring it back.
Okay. Committee, what do you want to do now? That's where the funding would have been from. It has not been renewed. I know George had the youth budget on the agenda. Do you want to keep that on the agenda?
I thought that was on.
I'll just,
Just waiting on council.
just leave it on there just in case.
Okay. You might be called out. Okay.
Sure.
Did we get a hold of, Hip yet?
She's
Go ahead,
gonna,
Rafa.
his admin assistant is gonna try to call him. But he said he wasn't in the office right now.
I don't know, Cover, George, do you know, what about, soccer? Will they be able to help?
She's just here, I don't know.
Because,
Find out, they got funds.
she mentioned that she would be able to assist at the baseball league.
That's where it's coming from.
And so she told me to ask if you guys would like to. She was like, sure, I don't know. That's all she said. She said she'd like to be, able to help with the baseball league.
I think then the youth affairs budget should stay on.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dominic.
And sure, and I don't wanna stop it, I just wanna clear everything up so we ain't dealing with a lot of stuff in the end. Project here. All these questions are gonna rise up, man. I
Right,
just
but we
gotta
need
clear
to
it all up now.
we need to identify where the funding's gonna come from, because it's not coming from marijuana anymore.
But it can. You know, it's the council's right and authority to allocate that money. If you're going to, you can allocate your youth budget because they're one of the priorities. You can allocate that youth budget from the marijuana money. That's up to the council, that's not up to me or the marijuana commission. The council has the right to allocate the money, so if they're going to set that youth budget, they can allocate it from the marijuana money.
So we'll keep the youth budget on, so we can leave, that motion needs to be made because there was a motion to stop all spending. So that was a motion by Norman. And that's why they rescinded all the funds. Okay, so we'll reserve that to the youth affairs budget. Utilities grant, they did not get a hold of him, he was out of the office.
So are we waiting on the baseball?
No, this, utilities. The motion is to move the We Chose Ani grant to the HIP, but the request was that the HIP was made aware that they're gonna be having this grant under, as the oversight. So we'll keep moving on until we can get a hold of him. Next is the OST President's Office proposed resolution to recontract PL 93-638 programs with the BIA for a period of 3 years at 100% level of funding. Go ahead, Garfield.
No, so I don't think well, what did we decide on the baseball? We're not doing nothing on it?
We're gonna address it during the youth affairs budget, because
Okay.
that falls under their budget.
Okay,
And the budget would come from the marijuana.
okay.
The issue was that there was a motion made in here to stop all spending from the marijuana account. Oh, is it here?
Well, I'm just sitting in for Kevin. They were laying a foundation for one of our homes, so he's on his way from there. He should be here in like 15 minutes.
Okay, so we'll come back to them. Number eight, OST President's Office proposed resolution to recontract PL. Go ahead, Sonia.
I know I have to leave too, for the better time, but so does Jake. He needs to be there, so he wants to be moved up if you could, from the food distribution, if you guys can deal with that one.
Okay. Also, the comptroller does have a emergency update from yesterday's law and order meeting that requires executive session. So, do you want to hear the update, then address the president's office? I need a motion. Just want 30 seconds.
I think we should go with Jake first, because that
Oh, yeah.
can take a while.
Okay.
What time does that feather tanning start? 3? Is it 3?
Yep.
It is 3.
See, we need to get there. All right, so the commodity program, we're gonna move you up, Jake.
Good afternoon, and thank you for adding me. Appreciate it. Jake Lill, Director of Food Distribution, and I'm here with regard to implementation of 26-08. We've talked about this on a couple of occasions. A couple weeks ago I sat here, last week I sat here. We don't have any resolution, but before I get to that, I just have a paper I want to read into the record, something I submitted to HR and Grants Committee with my 6th submission. And we could move on from there with any kind of action or decision or discussion. But I wanted to comment, I don't enjoy the conflict that some of these things bring on. I have to work with people, and I enjoy working with people. And Treasurer and Comptroller has been very helpful to me over the years in my project. So it's nothing to that, but things have to be done and fleshed out. So I appreciate your time. I submitted this cover letter yesterday with our pans, and I'll just read it to you. To the Grants Committee, HR Department, regarding the 6th submission of personnel action notices for implementation of approved grant-funded wage actions per OSD Ordinance 26-08, formal notice of compliance. And I have copies, and the Secretary does have copies, and I'll pass these out as soon as I'm done reading. Members of Grants Committee, HR Director, this letter serves as a 6th formal submission of personnel action notices related to the implementation of approved wage actions under the food distribution program. The administrative record reflects prior submissions on the following dates: May 6th, 2026, May 13th, 2026, May 20th, 2026, May 27th, 2026, June 3rd, 2026. This submission dated June 9th is made in good faith and for the purpose of preserving the record and providing the Grants Committee with the final opportunity to correct ongoing non-compliance with tribal law, policy, and federal award requirements. Council Ordinance number 2608 is the controlling tribal law governing this matter. That ordinance mandates that tribal programs utilize the full personnel funding amounts approved by the funding agency for wages to stabilize programs and improve services. Once those funding levels have been approved and recognized through the budget process, the ordinance imposes a duty to implement those wage levels. The personnel action notice process is the required administrative mechanism to carry out this mandate. Execution of the personnel action notice is therefore a required administrative act and not a discretionary function. Failure to complete this process constitutes non-compliance with tribal law. Under the tribe's personnel policies and procedures, any change in any rate of pay must be documented through the personnel action notice, and no employee may be compensated until that personnel action notice has been fully executed and signed by all appropriate officials. The policy further established that personnel action notices are to be completed within a defined administrative time frame following a wage action. Continued failure by the Human Resource Department to complete and route these personnel action notices for signature within a time frame constitutes violation of tribal personnel policies and procedures, failure to carry out required administrative duties, interference with lawful payroll implementation. The record reflects specific instances of administrative obstruction by the Human Resource Department. On one documented occasion, the Human Resource Department did not bring the submitted personnel action notices forward to the Grants Committee for consideration. At that time, the department staff acknowledged that the packet was complete, but stated that the documents would not be taken forward or signed until after a tribal council meeting scheduled for May 26th. This action establishes that the documentation was complete and ready for processing. The Human Resource Department had knowledge of that completeness. The matter was intentionally withheld from committee consideration. The delay was imposed without legal or procedural authority. The Human Resource Director is present at all Grants Committee meetings and is responsible for ensuring that completed personnel action notices are properly routed for review and signature. The intentional decision not to present completed personnel action notices to the committee, combined with the acknowledgement that the packet was complete, reflects the deliberate interruption of required administrative processes, improper substitution of internal interference for established procedure, deviation from both tribal policy and ordinance requirements. This conduct is consistent with administrative delay, not consistent with administrative delay or it reflects a calculated decision to withhold action outside of lawful process. The current submission includes a time-stamped wage adjustment certification form signed by the Health and Human Services Committee Chair dated April 21, 2026. This is supported by committee minutes from the same date, which approved the wage and salary adjustments, acknowledged that all required documentation was present. The Human Resource Department marked this documentation as received on May 11, 2026. Despite this, the matter was subsequently presented to the Grants Committee on May 13, May 27, and June 3rd, during which the documentation was repeatedly disregarded without written legal explanation. The May 20th grants committee is the day the packet was withheld by HR, it's not listed. This establishes a clear record that all conditions for implementation had been met and acknowledged, yet action was withheld. Approved budget authority. The wage amounts contained within the personnel action notices have already been approved through the federal award and budget process and formally accepted by the tribe. The current action is limited strictly to implementation. Failure to implement approved personnel costs interferes with the execution of the federal award and reflects a breakdown in internal control. Recipients of federal funding are required to maintain effective internal controls and ensure that approved costs are implemented and consistent with award terms. The continued obstruction of personnel action notice's execution reflects non-compliance with those obligations. The delay in wage implementation has resulted in an estimated loss of $80,230.76 in indirect cost recovery. This loss is directly tied to failure to execute approved personnel costs. These actions expose the tribe to audit findings, question costs, and internal control deficiencies under the federal audit requirements. The tribe has recognized the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People through Resolution 1271 and continues to hold responsibility to protect workforce stability and program functionality for the Oyate. The Grants Committee and Human Resources Department must immediately complete execution of all submitted personnel action notices, carry out implementation of approved wage actions. No lawful basis exists for further delay. The committee is therefore placed, the Grants Committee is placed on formal notice that any continued refusal, delay, or failure to process these personnel action notices will be understood as intentional non-compliance with tribal law, violation of internal policy and procedure, and failure to adhere to federally governed grant administration requirements. If immediate corrective action is not taken, the program will pursue all appropriate and available remedies, including formal administrative filings, Inspector General complaints, compliance escalation through grant oversight channels, and protective actions necessary to ensure implementation of the federal award and protection of staff. Such actions will be undertaken to protect the integrity of the grant, safeguard the financial interests of the tribe, ensure compliance with applicable law, and maintain continuity of services to the people. This letter is submitted in good faith and with the expectation of immediate corrective action. As the cover letter to our sixth submission yesterday, we got the pans back yesterday, they're not signed, or this morning they're not signed as it's required by tribal law, personnel, and policy and procedures. One of the things I mentioned in the letter here was the formal grants packet. We all submit those, award, grants, contracts, documents, the yellow one, you guys all seen those. That budget is in there, the award letter's in there, and all personnel of grants committee signed it. It's on there, accepted in January. This ordinance is built on top of 1722, does not violate any other, and it supersedes, and it's to help, it had to be developed. I had to do that because no one assisting. The council agreed, HHS committee agreed, finance committee agreed, the council agreed, and even looks like the grants committee agreed in January and signed off on my grant and how to use that. But when it came to implementation, it's not being done. And I don't get anything in writing back. I didn't get anything in writing back this morning. There was no cover letter as to why I was rejected the sixth time. I got one thing right in writing, that was, I think it was my third submission. It was a cut and paste. Literal, someone cut an ordinance out and taped it onto a paper and gave it to me. And I have a copy of that in another one. I've been going through this for weeks, so I have plenty of documentation, but this was yesterday's. So I'm hoping that we could resolve this here today. Some type of motion and a second to mandate the grants committee to process those plans, HR to take them there. When we talk to HR, my administrative assistant, HR's response is she won't have anything to do with it. She just takes it over there and she won't have any decision on who signs it. They're going to sign it, the grants committee. Of course, that's paraphrased. But where is the responsibility? Someone should tell me the legal standing, something that overrides tribal law, something to that effect where I could work with. My employees are waiting. We're sitting here talking about funding, shortage of funds, 2%, OT. We're going on and on about that. Here's programs that actually have their money sitting there, trying to apply tribal law to 4.2% inflation. Donald Trump was brought up, the orange one earlier. Things are getting out of hand. It's terrible out there. Short-term loans and long-term loans, they run rapid. They really go, and as a director, you want to deny some of these things. You have to work with them, you talk to them, but you look at it, and some of it's gas money just to get to work. So you can't. I have one guy tearing up his tire over and over. He has a cracked rim. Rims at $250. So anyway, on and on. So I'm requesting some relief, some help. I'm gonna pass out this paperwork real quick, if you don't mind. Come back.
Chair.
All right, George and Anna.
Thank you, Chair. We always harp on the directors to get more funding for their employees. This was passed through council, committee, so who's above us that it's not being signed off and followed through? Or where's the bottleneck happening? Because I'd like to know what's going on too, because it should have been known a long time ago. I always want better for our employees, and this is a fine example of putting the work in to get better wages, so. I don't be informed of what's going on. Thank you.
I believe the treasurer wants to respond.
I can wait till after Anna.
Okay.
Thank you. I was just gonna do a motion to the effect of supporting, is it 2608 ordinance?
Yes, 2608.
And a motion to reaffirm and to implement the funding approval of the plans for the OST commodity program as approved by Grants Committee, Finance Committee, HHS Committee, and effective immediately. And it just seems like this has been going on too long, and as stated, we always want better for our people out there, their job opportunities, their funding levels, and it's, you know, they deserve it. They deserve this type of initiative from a director to better the lives of their employees. And thank you for coming forward to, once again, to the committees for the process that you're having to take. And I'm sorry that it's being bottlenecked somewhere along the way, even though we have all these approvals. Recently, maybe back in January, I've seen a director go from almost 45,000 to 90,000 for a director. There was no questions called. There was no questions. It was approved. So for an employee of a program to get an increase in salary compensation, you know, our employees deserve that. They really do. And it takes directors who care about their programs to come forward with this. And so thank you for continuously advocating for your program and your employees. Thank you.
Okay, you know, I agree that our employees should be making money, especially now with the inflation the way it is. I mean, a gallon of gas is $5 here. But you guys passed the ordinance. You guys passed the ordinance that said you had to have funding agency approval. Jake wrote in a letter, or sent a letter to Grants Committee that he said was funding agency approval. But the letter didn't say that. The letter said that salaries would need to be set by tribal ordinances and policy. That's what the letter said. That was the last paragraph of the letter. Your policy follows a salary scale. And I've been telling Julianne this, if you're going to raise salaries, you guys have have to do it. Because that 2608, it requires a funding agency approval. And that letter was not an approval. It said that we were allowed to set the salaries as we wanted, but we had to follow our policies and our ordinances or our laws. So change the law, fix the ordinance. If you don't want funding agency approval, take it out. But the grants committee is only following what you guys passed. And I know you don't want to hear that, but that's the way it is.
Budget.
The award letter is the funded agency approval. That's what that letter from Kathy Schweitzer is saying. We expect that to be spent in accordance with those cost and budget CFR policies. That was approved and signed off by our grants committee in January. The entire packet is there. You move that forward, they still wouldn't pass it. So, Kathy, this is what they want. Okay, why? Well, go ahead and just write something, give it to me, we'll take it down there. Her intent was to say yes. Obviously, how it was signed into law, the grants packet is how they expect it to be expended. And the fact of the matter is, 2608 is policy. It's policy. Since when is tribal ordinance adopted, not policy? It fundamentally acknowledged 1722 as a floor, and it acknowledged 1822 as a guiding document, and where there's inconsistencies in it, it joined it and it improved upon it. Tribal council passed policy when they passed 26-08. That was the whole intent of the ordeal. There is no other way around it other than I think it's a personality issue. I don't know what else to say. I think there's 3 other programs trying to do the same. So, a tribal ordinance for personnel policies and procedures is policy. Since when do we just say, no, that one's not policy, but this one is? Why did we pass it? I think we're being stymied. I'm aware of the OIG document 001. I obtained that. I have a complaint. It's probably 90% ready. I need to add some things to it. I have all the attachments. But my understanding is the treasurer, the comptroller, the chief of staff, they're all under the council somehow. Why then aren't they following the law? So why would I have to file a complaint? Why go through that mess? There's plenty of things to do day to day operating the food distribution program. Why aren't we saying, oh, that is travel policy? Let's just do it. Motion second. Get it done with. Let's move on. Let's make a change. Let's be positive. Let's keep moving.
Recording in progress.
We're not doing that. We're finding ways not to change, not to move. These employees deserve this change. Every employee deserves this change. We have to make those changes. We can't sit around on our thumbs. I get compliance. Compliance is fine, so I'm trying to comply. We passed an ordinance. But compliance shouldn't be static and stagnant. It should be a foundation to be creative, to make changes. I don't know what's going on. But to say this is not policy, that's concerning. To say what tribal council passes as law, it isn't policy, that's concerning. I'm hoping to get a motion in a second out of this to move forward and make changes in our tribe.
Tony and then Lyle.
Hi, it's Tony Mao, OST Acting Comptroller. I agree with everything Jake says. Grants Committee was put in place to review, to make sure we follow the policy. The only 2 things I'm looking at is, did the funding agency say yes? And is there enough money? Those are the 2 things. And then when we look at all of the people who are going to get that on the pans, my question was why is everybody in Wombly getting less? That's not fair. that was one of the points that our attorney pointed out, that this must be fair. If it's not fair within the food program, then my job also is to look out for all tribal employees that are receiving federal funds. So I can't just look at food. What's the impact going to be at childcare? What's the impact going to be for public safety? We have to be fair. So again, like you said, let's get this settled, move on. It was Steph's recommendation at Grants Committee that we send this to legal. So that's where it went. I don't know if he was notified, but I thought he was. So we're getting their interpretation because we have to follow and make sure it's fair across the board. And this paperwork is at legal, and we'll go with what their recommendation is. Thank you.
So before I call on you, Lyle, real quick, item number 8, well, actually this whole section here, but number 6 says federal grant rules including 2 CFR 200.430 require only that wages charged to a grant be reasonable, necessary, and allocable, and do not require equal pay for equal work, uniform pay across programs, or suppression of wages below funded levels. And then I'm going to drop down to number 10. No provisions of this ordinance creates discrimination under tribal law, as the wage adjustment mandate applies uniformly to all the programs and employees, remains fully consistent with the tribal salary floor and existing tribal employment standards. But then I'm going to go further, because I am reading it and I'm not seeing, and maybe if you can help me, where it states the funding agency approval, because I'm not finding that in this ordinance, which is law by way, and I just want to remind everyone of that. So it should be followed according to the law we established here. But if you read 2608, it defines everything, and the fact that we have to reaffirm what we passed does concern me that, you know, there's some lack of communication. Go ahead, Lyle, Anna, the Donray.
Yeah, I just had a quick comment here. What Jake brought up with the letter from Kathy Schweitzer, which is in the packet, and it does have a Human Resources Department stamp to it as received. On the top it says approved annual proposed budget and award letter. And when you read in the first paragraph towards the bottom, the budget approved letter constitutes approval for all items in the final negotiated budget. So it's in black and white.
Oh, it's number. And just correction, I did find it, whereas stabilizing wages, stabilizing programs, ensuring that employees are compensated at the full level intended by the funding agency. So I believe it says intended. And if you're negotiating that with your funding approving agency, strengthens recruitment, retention, and service delivery, which are critical needs on the Pioneer Reservation. Were you done, Lyle?
Yes.
Anna, then Donray.
Thank you. There was a comment brought up about differences in salary from Wombly and Pine Ridge employees. I believe that Wombly is not a high traffic area. It's, and Pine Ridge is a high traffic area. You know, that's from my viewpoint. It could be, I could be wrong, but I'm sure that the information collected on who is utilizing the commodity program from Wombly can reflect that it is a smaller area compared to Pine Ridge's high traffic areas. So I don't think that it would be fair that one area with not high traffic be treated the same as Pine Ridge area. But I also do know that Ordinance 2608, as Jake stated, is that the adjustments are in compliance with those policies, and they are applicable to the budget authority that within that, and within his administrative approvals, and within the Oglala Sioux Tribe's policies. So I don't even understand why it's not even being approved by HR to sign off on these PANs. It just seems that one area is being targeted by moving forward in a way that's better for our way of life, to better our employees' way of life, when it seems like everything's in compliance. And I know it's not the first time that salary wages, increase have been brought to finance, but I'm sure that Mr. Little is knowledgeable enough that should it be not compliant with the funding agency, they would get a hold of him right away, and then he would bring forth that as well. It seems like it's a successful program. It's got a lot of successes under its belt. So I'm sure if the funding agency is like, hold up, wait, you're not in compliance, they would bring it to his attention. But it sounds like they're also in support of that as well. Thank you.
I'm just gonna say this is the 6th time. We're just 20 in here? Well, she wants to talk about, helping people. Let's help Jacob. We shouldn't be this, this grants committee. I don't know why we have to wait on HR to make sure everything's open, all right? But what I am gonna say is that, last week, all the FBO got comp time. So we're picking and choosing again on who gets paid what. All the upstairs FBO got comp time. If we're gonna do that, we should do that for everybody else in the IDC. I'm just gonna bring that up. I guess, Alan, you got that motion, I'll second it.
So we do have a motion and a second to reaffirm 26-08, supporting and reaffirming. And we want to ensure that this does not affect the timeline, because it does state committee action timeline. All tribal committees shall act on wage adjustment requests within 30 days to ensure timely implementation, maintain program stability, and prevent personnel loss due to wage stagnation.
Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Dave Kelly. Did he have to excuse himself? Oh, no? Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Garfield Steele,
What are we doing?
Reaffirming ordinance 2608.
We're just reaffirming ordinance 608?
No, to support the increases
yeah, with the food distribution
for the
program.
PANs,
And
for the
support
PAN
the-
approvals that was approved by Grants Committee, Finance Committee, HHS Committee for the commodity program.
So it was approved by Grants Committee?
It's approved by everybody for 6 times now.
Yeah.
George Freeman Jr.,
Yes.
John Ray Goldsberry,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yeah.
6 yes, 1 not voting.
6 yes, 1 not voting, motion passed. The motion is passed, so you should be able to move forward with your amendments or your requests.
Do you want an explanation on the variances and wages? Are you okay? You good now?
Committee, do you want explanation on the variances of wages between this district and Wobbly district?
Plus it's a new employees too.
What it is?
Plus, I just want to say, plus committee, there's people listening out there, and I'm sure they want to hear that too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So what it is if you remember, we came to committee early in the term and we adjusted job descriptions to a new base of 25 percentile Bureau of Labor Statistics. The next step was to, once funding was provided, at the time USA Admin was holding back money, we were going to add up to 4 steps for those who qualified to make those adjustments. We wrote for the money with that respect, and that's why the budget resembles what it is. Some employees were brand new with no tribal experience, so they didn't get the 4 steps. So some started at 0, some at 1, most of them were at 4. So that's why there is a difference, and Wong Lee has new employees. That's the basic of it, and that's all there is. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Little. And we will be moving on to, we're gonna go back to the HIP program. So the director is here, and the reason why you're requested is because there's going to be a motion made to move the Oyate Beach Hozani grant to make you the oversight of this grant without any changes of the list of names already approved. But they wanted to include you on the conversation. Are you capable of taking over this grant or managing this grant?
And there's that extension too.
Right. And can you just introduce yourself for the record?
Okay.
Because there will be an extension that is coming up very soon that will need to be done.
Okay, for the record, my name is Kevin Ramos Jr., the HIP director. At one time, from my understanding, it was under HIP, and then so when it was supposedly HIP, we cracked the application. We were going to do PSAs, and then somewhere down the line it went to utilities. So then that was just kind of put to the side, and we were ready to take it on. But if it's something that needs to be done, then we can do that too.
Okay. So you will be working with the utilities director to pull all of that information on.
Okay.
And there's an extension that has to be done ASAP
And
too.
we told Tyler to get you all of that. So
Okay.
hopefully he does.
And then if there isn't one, then I could get through it documents I can get and then send for extension.
Okay, yeah.
Excuse the committee, when you guys talk, could you guys put it, use your mics, because there's people out there listening that would like to hear about what's going on too. Thank you.
So we are going to run the motion to move the Oyate Beach Hozani grant to fall under HIP as the oversight program. This will include all documentations and requests for extensions. There's also programs that it covers as well that have been utilizing it. That's water, sewer, emergency management, rural water.
And that the list stay the same.
Yes, and that the list stay the same because there has been, you'll get all that with that.
Okay.
But no, the
Okay, Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Dave Kelly,
No.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Garfield Steele,
Yep.
George Humer Jr.,
Yes.
Don Roy Goldsberry,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Good.
6 yes, 1 no, 1 not voting.
6 yes, 1 no, 1 not voting, motion passed. And then if you could just provide an update to your oversight committee once that's done.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
I think we have a program coordinator where you keep the same people.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Okay. And then you need to work with solid waste.
We let them know.
Okay. And I think this is the Schmiel thing or something. The water and sewer.
Okay. Under our regular HIP, we work with them already on other stuff, so it'd be 2 months for us.
Money and water, yeah.
Okay. While you're here, did you receive any update on the HIP program, if they're going to provide funding?
We did get they're hoping to get us our list by Friday. We did get another round of funds up to 28.
Oh, good, okay,
We're gonna be up there.
good. And this was one that Mr. Ramos asked that we address with Mark Cruz and the senator.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, messed me up. Okay, thank you for coming down and showing us. All right, number 8, the OSC President's Office proposed resolution to recontract PL 93.638 programs with PIA for a period of 3 years at 100% level of funding. I believe the treasurer did have a comment for this one.
I asked Olivia and she said they do this every 3 years.
Motion to approve. So we have a motion, is there a second?
And forward to council.
And forward to full council. Second by Dunbar.
Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Dave Kelly,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Garfield Steele,
Yep.
George Streamer Jr.,
Yes.
Don Ray Bolster,
Yes.
Dwayne Little Thunder,
Yes.
5, 6, 7 yes, 1 not voting.
7 yes, 1 not voting, motion passed. OSC Higher Education did have to leave because she is part of the feather tying as well. It's to address the committee and include signed documents from the chief of staff. The form is in your packet.
She said she wanted to be on next week, that's what she told me.
Oh, okay, so she did request to move on to next week. We will move on to the additions. Little Bighorn event, Anna.
I think that was brought forward with documentation
Yes.
that the committee can receive.
Where's your SGT, man? Right, Lynn, you got it, Lynn, let him rest.
And Grant's standing too hard to do
Yeah.
Well, the guy sitting in the corner over there.
All them campaign speeches tired him out. Okay, that's for the council.
That was it.
All those for the people speeches,
Yeah.
wear them down.
So I know with the Little Bighorn, a lot of tribes have been helping their tribal members and their tribal presence at the 150th anniversary of the Battle of Little Bighorn with funds. But as far as I know, the Oglala Sioux tribe has not funded any requests for the Little Bighorn for the Oglala Sioux tribe and participants. I do know that the education program, Dana, has everything set for the youth that are going, and I believe she said she had about 100 youth that were going to attend and 100 adults that were going to attend. And they're basically set up at their own camp, so they'll be taking care of themselves and their food and everything that pertains to their activities. They're gonna have all kinds of cultural activities for the youth that they're taking there, and they'll be there almost a week. I do know that it would be good if we as the Oglala Sioux tribe were able to help support this budget that's coming forth for the Little Bighorn. There's a budget request for the cognitive tests for the horses and 4 semis for large horse trailers, individual owner rides. So the total amount of the request funding would be $46,000 for the horse owners funding request. And then there's also another request, and it attaches all the names of all the horse riders and the groups that are going. There's about 15 groups that are going, and I think they're expecting at least 1,200 people that are going to be there from the Oglala Sioux tribe for the Horse Nation. And then there's also additional request for purchase of funding for 10 teepees to set up at the designated camping area campsite, and with a cost for that, the total cost would be $25,000. Attached is the vendor, James Tucrow, who would be in charge of that. There's also another vendor that is willing to go up to provide shade for our elders and our youth and our people, and during this 150th anniversary, and with his rental, it would include the big shades, tables, and chairs, so that people would have a place to find relief from the heat, and also to be able to be under the shade for meals throughout the day. I do know right now there is no funding for meals or any food or anything like that, which, you know, would have been nice to include in the budget as well. No, I think from what we've been notified is we're expecting a large amount of Oglala Lakota people to be there at the 150th anniversary. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is going to be provided, but it is being coordinated by the Rosebud Sioux tribe. And I do know that they did ask if we could contribute either for cooks and cleaners. Yeah. And so for the ride and the charge for the victory ride would be for, the majority of the riders are going to be youth. And it'll also be for honoring our elders as well. But it says approximately 80% of the riders are youth. I do know as a Oglala Sioux tribe, this is something that we will never see in our lifetime ever again. There's tribes from Canada, there's tribes from all over the Turtle Nation, the Turtle Continent, that are going to be in attendance here at this Victory Day. So if we can get some input, possibly from our treasurer, on where it could be utilized for these items.
I do have a question, two questions for the treasurer as well, with Anna's request for where we could find $76,000 to go towards this. But I recall President Bear Runner purchased 15 teepees, and I'm curious where those went, the 15 teepees. But also, what was the budget we approved last year for this?
I do know it was around 30,000.
Okay.
Right?
I don't know.
For the Little Bighorn.
Looking at my email.
It was probably around that area.
Do you know what the president is using their budget for, that they got from the BIA for this?
So, from my understanding, that goes to the Great Plains, and they submitted their own budget, but it doesn't include any of these, the Horse Nation, the teepees, or the rentals for the shade, and other support. I believe that they're utilizing it for other areas. I do know that our tribal emergency management program is going to go to the event, so they'll be able to provide security and other areas for, say if there's an accident, they'll be there on hand to provide emergency management services. But I can find out what they'll exactly be utilizing it for, but it's not to cover any of these cost requests.
Do you know of the 15 teepees as well?
No, I don't. I know they were given to some districts, and some districts claimed that they had gotten stolen.
Go ahead, Barbara.
those of you that stayed in a teepee before, you know that an 18-foot teepee can't house too much people. And if there's gonna be that much of our relatives going, I really don't see how 10 teepees is gonna house a lot of people. And knowing that what we're looking at financially, I know like the Manderson guys, like Junior, they normally all take their own tents and stuff. Would it be feasible to just approve this budget without the teepees? Or is it just that we want to have teepees?
Well, maybe we could even do 5 TVs.
Because 46,000
Okay, yeah.
for the horses, I could kind of see that. The 5,000, it says rental for sunshades, tables, chairs, for meals, for camp.
Are you, do you want to come in?
Maybe, I don't know, I'm just thinking, financial wise, I think,
I think that'll be okay.
I could, see us doing the 46,000 plus is the 5,000 just for like, to buy chairs and stuff, or?
It looks like it's going to the vendor, Jamie Bickrow, and I know he just provides porta johns and shade.
He does tables and chairs.
And tables and chairs as well.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Anna.
Oh, well, I guess Cora couldn't answer it, and I just, about some of the TVs going to the different districts. But if there are no TVs, maybe can you ask Property and Supply if they do have those TVs in their inventory, or if they don't? Because that way we have a clear answer if they're needed or not.
I'm messaging now.
Is the president's office on? They're here.
Okay.
But I also can talk on the teepee pole stakes and stuff like that. I do believe that the teepee poles were going to be provided as they had a teepee pole harvest.
There was a question that was brought up regarding the money that was received from the BIA for this event and what that was being used for. Oh, can you introduce yourself for the record?
Okay, my name is Cordelia Whiteock. I'm the special assistant to the president, and I've been helping with this Battle of Little Bighorn. The money for that the BIA has is for all of the people in the Great Plains tribal chairmans that I think it's Region 8. So that's for different types of events that are going on there. And they decide on what that will be used for. So the overall one. These teepee poles are for the tribe. And we're requesting it to set them up there, one just for our tribe to represent. And they're doing a teepee pole harvest from rosebud, but those are for rosebud teepees. They're putting up one of those big council lodges. And so this one right here, when we were looking for teepees, I was pricing like from buildings from different places like that, and it would cost almost $2,900 for a teepee with poles, stakes, ropes, all of that kind of a thing. So this one is a local vendor, and we were just talking, and he said he had some teepees, plus the poles, everything you need for 2,500. And I told him, I said, if we could use that at the Little Bighorn, would you be able to transport them? And he said, yes, for that, as part of that deal, I'll transport the poles, the teepees, everything over there. And then the youth will help set it up. That'll be part of the teaching process. And if they want to, there's going to be different, like the youth council wants to go, there's going to be different youth, different people that will be there, and they can use that if they want. But when it's back here, we're going to the tribal property and supply inventory, so you could then use it for.
Committee, could you give our presenters your attention?
So that's what this is for.
Not to cut you off, and I apologize, I did get a response from Chuck. He has not seen the record of them. I am aware they were purchased, but we don't have record of them. And I believe they were bought during the COVID time, so we don't have those 16 TVs.
They're at the individual districts, but I know ours disappeared.
Do you have any questions, committee? I guess my question would be, where would this funding come from, Cora? Is there anything left in the honorarium? Where would the funding come from?
I don't know where it would come from. Right now, what we have in our general fund is like 130,000 for operations, and our next revenue isn't even expected until July.
Were you done? Yes. Go ahead, Donna.
I remember Bob was saying that yesterday that the general fund had money in there.
Yeah, it has, right now, let me pull it up.
And on all of that, I think the honorarium has $1 million, close to $1 million, so why can't we just take from the honorarium? At least that 46,000.
We have to make sure the money is in the bank to spend it. Let me pull up general fund.
I know a lot of different people been using the honorarium, so.
When I was coming in here, I heard somebody asking about that request for the shade. We're having a campsite, and we call it the Allies, and it's all 9 tribes plus Northern Cheyenne, Northern Arapaho, and then the Ocheti Shakoi from Canada is coming down, and they want to camp, and it's open to all of everybody. Rosebud Sioux Tribe has committed to feeding the entire camp. So we're all helping out, helping them with food, and when we get there, different family members will go over and just volunteer and help them to prepare that food. And what we realize is they have canopies for the food preparation, but there's no shade for people to sit there and eat. So we happened to be, Jamie Bickra had come in, and so he said, would you be able to do that? And he said, but when we explained what it was, he said, yes, I could do a shade and tables and chairs for the camp to sit at as part of this effort. And he could transport them, set them up, and then bring them back. So that covers all of it for the entire campsite. So that would be kind of like our little contribution toward feeding, because Rosebud is doing all of that portion of it. So.
Okay, so the dollar amount that was reported is what the general fund is for operations. What's the honorarium?
That's in general fund.
That's in general fund?
It's a part of the general fund budget. Sorry, it's a part of the general fund budget. So it's within that. We do have money in the employee fee account, like 150,000. If you guys want to take it from there, or tribal engagement, or whatever, I guess.
Can we get the ordinance for the 2%? And what does it say that it can be used for?
I gave you guys that earlier.
Go ahead, while we're waiting, go ahead, Don Ryan.
Yeah.
I thought the honorarium had its own account line item upstairs, it shouldn't be mixed in with the general fund, because why
It
you
is in
just
the general fund. It's
so you're
the
dumping
general
all the
operating.
honorarium into the general fund?
Yeah.
So how are
You
you
don't
gonna
get
track it?
extra honorarium. Whenever you look at your report, there's one
Can I
page.
get a copy of the honorarium line item?
Yeah. But there's one page, it's called general operating. And in general operating, that's under the general fund. It's a part of the general fund.
Well, I remember like about a year and a half ago, you said honorarium had its own line item.
It is a line item. You have your fund, which is general fund. You have your program, which is general operating, and then you have your line items, salary, fringe, travel, honorarium, burial, medical. That's all in there.
Don Ryan, I hear what you're saying. The line item, when we approve the budget, that account is specifically for the honorarium. And so is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
What is the balance of that line?
It's a part of the general fund. It's inside the general fund. Okay, good.
That's from February.
Okay, but
Just
see,
to show.
this whole report that I give you guys during council, the whole report I give you during council is the whole general fund. Inside of the general fund, we have the district representatives' budgets. We have, we have the representatives' budgets, THPO, it's all general fund, see? And then within the general fund budget, we have the general operating. Now, do we have grasses on here? See, we have the general operating, this is the fund, this is the program, and these are the line items. So honorarium is under the general fund, under general operating. It's not separate.
So what you're saying, it could be this amount, but it's really not that amount in the general fund?
Right. Because operating, we're based on revenue, our budget. So whatever money comes in to utilize is what we have. So when we do the budget, we base the budget based on the revenue we received the prior year. So the last number on the last page is usually what we received the prior year for revenue to be spent in general fund. So when money comes in, we have it. But if money doesn't come in, like right now, the only revenue we have is our land lease. And we'll be getting our bond surplus in July. And then our land lease again in August. So basically, and our portion of the tariff fees and the taxes, whatever's left, that's the bond surplus.
What about donation?
And donation is separate.
Donation, what do we?
What's in that account? Only elderly assistance.
How much elderly assistance? That's only for elderly assistance?
That's the only thing we use it for, just for elderly.
What about?
Anna and Dave.
Thank you. It was brought up that we can possibly use the tribal engagement funds, the tribal engagement referring to activities and efforts involving the tribal government members or communities with these kind of cultural activities. So I'll do a motion that we utilize the tribal engagement funds for this budget request to support our participation in the 150th anniversary of the Battle of the Little Bighorn. I know there was a comment about the teepees. I don't know if committee would want to do the request without the teepees included, or if they'd be more comfortable if we broke it down to maybe just five TVs, half of what, I know we want to represent all the 9 districts, and one will be used for our tribal Chinoopa placement, which is very important, especially in this time where prayer is very important to us. And so I think, having a home for our tribal Chinoopa, for prayers for our people who have lost their lives in this battle, where we defeated Custer, which I'm very proud of. It's just a very monumental, it's a very monumental historical event that we're going to be participating in. And I know as a tribe we've utilized funds for other areas of importance for funding, but I do think that this is a very spiritual, historical, cultural event that's going to take place. And I do hope to see everybody there representing our Oglala Sioux tribe, because we're very proud of the accomplishments that we had in defeating Custer. For me, when I think of a lot of the battles, I think they were intents to massacre our people so that we're not existent in this world today. But yet, there we were all as tribes standing together to defeat the cavalry meant to kill our women, our children, our families, our ancestors, and yet we defeated them. And I think the teepees, for what they represent, each one of our districts, and then one teepee for the tribal Chinoopa, it's so powerful, because teepees were our home, and they mean a lot of significance to us. But one thing that I've been realizing is that this event is bigger than what it seems. All Lakota, Nakota, Dakota, Cheyenne, Northern Arapaho, Canadian tribes, they're all coming together. And, it just was one of the largest defeats here in the United States. And we, as Oglala Sioux tribe, we did that. And our warriors, they did that. Our ancestors, they did that. And after all the massacres that they committed against us as people, we showed them who we are. And whenever we go to these events, the Oglala Sioux tribe is standing there. We're doing honorariums, we're doing honorings, and right now we're trying to get a buffalo hide painted to honor the Bird family that for all the work that they've done to provide us with the land to camp on. And they're five brothers who are elderly, and they opened up their lands to us to utilize. They opened up their homes. They've opened up all of their areas so we could come and celebrate as tribes together during this historical anniversary. There's never going to be a time in any of our lifetimes that we'll see this happen again. I know that it's every year they do something up there, but this is the 150th anniversary, and I think we're kind of in a fight right now on the 250th anniversary with what they're utilizing to pay for fireworks and stuff, and celebrate in the Black Hills in our home, and we're resisting that and we're fighting against that, but they're trying to celebrate on our lands. Well, this event, we're celebrating our defeat. And so, but anyway, I could talk on and on about this. But anyway, so that's my motion. Thank you.
Just to be clear, do you want this from the 2% right to work fee?
I believe that Cora brought up tribal engagement funds.
That's under 2%.
So if that's under 2% and that's her recommendation, yes.
Okay.
Question?
Oh wait, I have Dave.
You want all of it?
Has it?
Oh.
I was just looking at a different option, you know, that 2% fee, we're kind of dwindling it down in case we need it somewhere along down the road. But, you know, just reviewing this, you're looking at TVs and cognizant tests for animals and whatnot, and everything's transportation related. I do know our motor fuels money is transportation related. You guys are sitting on over $2 million. I'm just saying, that money can come out there because it's a tax of the people. That'd be an option to look at. The reason I say that is because I know for a fact, and Garth could probably back me up, we haven't seen any work from the motor fuels program in over 2 years in our district, so I don't think that money's being spent the way it should be, so I do know there's a surplus. That'd be an option.
Who's the motor fuels director at the moment?
Donnie LeBeau.
Okay. Lyle DeGarfo.
So I'll second Anna's motion, but I had a comment. When we went to that meeting up there, all the other tribes were talking about transportation for the elders who can't get around, who will probably attend this. And so I want to see if we can get Property and Supply to take a side-by-side or something for our elders. They are? Oh, okay, good. Well, never mind.
Garfield?
So are you including the TVs?
Well, I was gonna amend it if Cora, do you know if we'd be able to utilize the transportation department funding, because it is a lot of transportation.
Right. I think maybe if you make your motion to be first from motor fuels and second from employee fee, that way you're covered.
Okay.
So I can meet with Donnie and figure out if you can pay for at least the Coggins testing.
Okay. Does that sound okay with committee?
And those are what, like 7,500, right?
The Coggins?
Well, I think it said something like
The request was
7,500.
46,000.
Huh?
The Cognizant is 7,500.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I know,
the
but
test-
that whole
Don't even miss
portion
it.
to get that
Fills up
tested.
again.
Transportation.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. That's my only, if that's possible, then I'm totally 100% by the full budget, but we need to make sure that those teepees are tagged and that we know that they're coming back to the tribe. I don't believe people should keep them. I think the tribe should maintain them as property, because if we bought 15 in the past, we don't know where they're at.
No more wanted.
And I know in the past, we thought about having funerals with teepees, but it was hard to get a hold of some, so I mean, it'd be good to have them on hand. So if we do purchase the teepees, we can do a separate motion that they stay on our property.
That's what was written into the request, that Property and Supply keep track of it and store them.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Go ahead.
Approving that 46, 25, and 5 as is?
46,000, 25,000, and 5,000.
Yeah, okay. And the first Cora will check with motor fuels to see if they can use that money for the Coggins.
The travel.
Transportation.
The cost.
The horse owner's funding request.
Okay, let's put that. If not, it'll come out of the 2%.
Yeah.
All right. Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Dave Kelly,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Old Little White Man,
No.
Garfield Steele,
Yeah.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Don Ray Goldsberry,
Yes.
Lane Little Thunder,
Yes.
7 yes, 1 no, 1 not voting.
7 yes, 1 no, 1 not voting, motion passed.
Chairman, I just want to thank everybody and invite you there. There is a campsite. Just bring your camping equipment and you'll be fed. There's shuttles up to the charge. There's horses coming and people are going to be doing different activities for the youth. But all the tribes will be there, even the Canadians. So, thank you.
Before you leave, can you stand by because there is comp time payout for the president's office as well? That's Anna.
Chair DePaul too.
Oh, yeah.
Did we get a budget from them?
Right here. This is what Tony gave out from the last comp time, but that's not the one that we are discussing. So I'm not sure what this one is. But
That's
those
not
are,
the same list. Is what you mean?
yeah, that's not the same list that was in discussion. But this is I don't know if it's a new one or not. But I didn't get anything from the president's office.
They're political.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get comp time.
I'm not sure it's comp time. I know they were talking about, so the OST president's office was given a directive from the EBD committee back in March to become the signature authority for the chief of staff and to do the duties. And so they basically spent the last 3 months doing those job performances of the chief of staff. However, I don't know if there's documentation that was submitted to Lynn or Julianne, because I wasn't. I know they're still working on it, but I wasn't aware they were complete with their submission.
So I'll respond real quick. She did message me. She is requesting compensation for their office for chief of staff duties and if possible funds, for the Battle of Little Bighorn. But the compensation was for the chief of staff duties. And when I asked, political appointees don't receive compensation or extra money, is what I spoke with the treasurer and asked about it.
You know, I do believe that they deserve payment. You know, there's 2 employees that worked really hard and very dedicated for the chief of staff. However, due to one of the staff being my mother, I don't know why I would be the one who advocates for it, if that makes sense. But I do know that they were still preparing their documents to come to finance committee from the last that I've known about it.
Go ahead, Bill.
Well, I was just gonna say that during COVID, I busted my hump for the incentives and the schools closed and other duties, but I have never received compensation for that, so I don't believe in this. As a political appointee at the time, so I really don't support this one.
So with that being stated, I mean, I'm sure they're still gonna bring it forward, but I would recommend that people in committees stop directing the staff to do extra duties if they're not gonna be compensated for extra work. You know, the duties that they had to do as chief of staff were quite extensive. They had to cover the IDC programs, they had to cover the general fund programs, so it wasn't just one job.
Okay, hold on. I have Garfield and Donroy, but real quick, I don't have to, I'm going to provide a statement. When I worked in the president's office, I believe it was my understanding that I would, in support of the tribe, my obligations to the tribe, that came with the job. I know I did work some long nights, a lot of food deliveries at that time, and I was not compensated, but that was my understanding that those were my extra duties. But go ahead, Garfield and Donroy.
Is this on the agenda?
Yes, we're in the additions now.
Who put it on? 'Cause
You did.
No, I didn't.
Hello?
I don't know who put it on, I wrote it down, those comp time payout.
Well, I didn't. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, then I confused
So-
mine with steps.
So the comp time payout that's on the agenda is this payment that went out to the incentives that were given to the IDC employees. So do we have a listing of the names of who got those? Because there's no documentation that we received from those employees. It is not the president's office. Cordelia, I think you can.
Yeah. But real quick, while you're here, I did ask about the Oglala Nation powwow, just an update. Are we moving forward with it? You briefed me in the office, but just for those who are listening.
Stephanie is heading that, and they're meeting weekly, and they're figuring out all the different aspects of it. So they are moving forward with the planning and deciding upon parade routes, deciding safety measures, things like that, assessing the grounds, what needs to be done, dealing with the other portion of it that has been happening. I can't give them more detail because with this little bighorn coming up so soon, I didn't attend the last powwow committee meeting.
Okay, so there will be a powwow and funds will be available. Okay.
I don't know about the funds, but there will be a powwow. They are planning for it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
And also this packet here was, Tony gave out. Everyone did receive a list of names with dollar amounts during that meeting. That's how I know about it. We're all aware of it because I did question it, where the dollar amounts came and what is the record for them. Because we can't approve compensation time without justifiable information. And so she did provide the documents. This is not the same list that we reviewed. However, this is a list. Go ahead, Anna.
Can we get copies of that? Also,
No, we can't.
why not?
That's payroll information from personnel. You
Well,
can look at it.
Can we look at it?
Copies of it. Yeah.
So, you know, it was mentioned earlier by Norman that this was an issue that was tabled by tribal council because it was brought up during tribal council by the acting comptroller. And at the time, tribal council tabled it again. But this issue has been brought to committee over and over, and it's been tabled numerous times. And in the motion, in the past, we had a conversation about it earlier, is that they didn't even address what the payout was gonna be. The only thing in the motion states is to address the comp time payout, whatever that may be, as it should have been handled administratively. So it's obvious that documentation was not stated on what payouts would be from these fundings account. I know we had that conversation earlier about this, and I'll go and check out the copy, thank you.
The treasurer's gonna respond to that, Donna.
Can you make a copy of that, please?
She said, no, you have to review
I
it.
can give it back. I mean, I'm on a finance committee. Why can't I get a copy?
It's personnel records. It's
I
personnel records.
mean, I can give it back after the meeting. We don't gotta all stand up there and look at it.
Yeah, we would do, yeah.
Can we get copies? Because it's
Well,
gonna take us
micromanaging.
time, it's gonna take us time to review it, so.
I have no problem if the treasurer's saying it's personnel, we can get you copies as long as you turn it back in. Turn it back in, it's their time, their hours.
Because I'm sure Lyle wants to see it,
And
or everybody
their accounts. So, as a committee, I have no problem with it, as long as you turn it back in. I mean, it's only fair that if it's your personal information being shared and discussed, you would like to be involved.
Well, my question is, if it got handed out last week, so there's copies were handed out last week.
There was 2 copies, and we asked where they're at, and we were told that it was shredded.
Okay, well, that's fine, I just want a copy, I can give it back.
These are separate names though.
Yeah, I mean of this.
Oh, yeah. She's gonna get someone to make copies. But the ones from last week, it was a separate list of names. These are different. So the motion, did they already get paid?
Yeah, they did.
It was a different list.
Because the discussion was that this should have been approved at council if it was tabled at council.
I'm looking right here because I know I turned that in when it was on the council agenda.
Right, and I would try to go through my email as well.
Last week, the motion was that I follow the policy and that I make the decision because it was administrative. So that's what I did.
It's just the council packet.
I was given
Just
that
making sure it was
information
in
there and approved her policy because the FSA, the Fair Labor Standards Act, FLSA, says that an employee is supposed to be given the choice of comp time or overtime. Our employees were not given the choice. And our own policy says that we must pay out comp time or it needs to be used within a year. So I used my discretion and I paid it out after last week's motion. Not everybody, only the people over a large amount. The smaller amounts, like the 0.75, the 3 hours, 4 hours, were not paid out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the employees had a choice as to accept it or not, because some of our temporary employees work the comp time and they save it for if they need to take leave. As long as they use it within the year, their supervisors are okay with that.
5, 6 copies.
Okay. Also, Lynn is sending you out the original list. It was in your council packet. It's in your email now. Do you want to take 10 until they get back?
There's something else we could deal with?
We sure do. Let's go on until the packets come back. Review for proposed cameras. Georgette was unable to give the update this week because of the extra items she had, but we can see where she's at with it so far. Dave.
Okay.
Georgette.
So I had wanted to visit with Bob before I made any changes, and I have not done that, so I don't have any update to give you. I apologize. I will try. I hear you guys saying you're concerned about next week. I know you're not doing the 25th, but I will try my very, very best to have this be a hot potato and on the 18th.
Is that an update?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So, Ichaga, we went to hear from the Ichaga board. We understand that EB&D is the oversight. Go ahead, Dave.
You know, I get a boatload of questions about what the hell Ichaga is doing. And from my understanding, there's supposed to be 5 board members. And apparently there's 2 that have been sitting for well over 2 years, probably longer. And I think it'd be imperative we actually find out what the heck they're up to, because I haven't seen, and I'm assuming it's still Gary Roos and Bat Weir. I don't know. See, we need a brief update as to what the hell they're doing.
Gary is not a board member, he's the executive director, and he was hired by Ichaga.
So, no, I'm just saying, you know, we need to find out what the heck's going on, because I don't see any movement.
And I thank you for bringing this on because I have been asking for an EB&D, but for whatever reason, they didn't put an EB&D agenda. Go ahead, Darnay.
Can we make a motion to re-advertise and finance?
We can make that motion and send it to EB&D. There's the oversight, and I know James likes to be notified.
No.
But I did request for them to be on the agenda several times.
Well, maybe we should, I'll make that motion to re-advertise all the positions, because it's stagnant. Maybe we could get some different, some names that will come in and forward it to James.
Go ahead.
So the last time we heard from them, they were working on that treatment center for the teens in Kyle. And that's the last update we ever received from them. And we approved, you know, their doings. So, yeah, we need an update to find out what's going on with, especially with that, because it's needed.
I don't know, Gary heard that he was on today, but he called me and he said they're still working on the chocolate thing. Or the treatment center? Yeah, so.
That's an awesome treatment center. So.
It's just bat, isn't it? Last I know, it was just bat on the board.
Yeah, very out of you just want different names.
But yeah, so he must have found out he was on the agenda.
Did they get the grant?
Yeah, they're working on it.
Oh, okay.
So they want to talk about, to meet with me, Ryan and Jeremy about picking a spot for the groundbreaking. So yeah, but I do believe that we should advertise for that board and stuff. And go forward with that. But.
So we have a motion to to advertise for the board, Ichaga board members.
Correct.
Is there a second? Second by George.
Question.
Go ahead.
Do we have, is there like a term limit, or do we know anything about that?
I know they're an arm of the tribe that gives them a lot of room to. I'm pulling up the ordinance on the Ichaga now. Or corporation.
Is it a charter, or?
Get it right now.
It's a corporation, it's separate from the tribe. It's supposed to be the holding company for the tribe, and the whole point of it was to have them create economic development on the reservation, which they haven't done.
They are a charter and
An extension.
there's no time on, 5 years. So they were given, in 2021, by ordinance 21-05, the general fund budget was adopted that included an allocation for Ichaga of $100,000. Ordinance 21-46 then amended ordinance 2105 to fund Ichaga to the amount of $500,000. These funds were paid in two separate checks, and first for $100,000 and the second for $400,000 in 2021.
Do you want one to look at?
Tell her to call me. So
Or-
I can help you with this.
No, it was 500. The funds were paid in two separate checks. The first one in 100,000, the second in 400,000.
Okay.
Tell her to call me. I see that. Okay.
So,
Half a million.
so Lynn is back, so we'll run this motion.
After a certain time period, they were supposed to be giving a percentage of their profits back to the tribe. But the only thing they've actually done was rent out our building in Allen to that sum.
Who came in?
Otherwise, there have been no earnings.
I'll give you that original one.
Can we go off record?
Okay, can you turn that off?
Maybe like To executive, I guess.
So we have a motion to go into executive, is there a second?
Excuse me.
Second by Lyle. One, and all ordinance, and all amendments. Amendments and resolutions.
Go buy whatever you want.
With the ordinances.
There's ordinances and resolutions.
Is there?
Yeah. Amendments and then resolutions.
Okay.
For life.
And include.
No worries. Current financials. Does anyone want to make that motion?
Motion.
Don Roy, second. George.
Kind of cool to have one, but
Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Dave Kelly,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Old Little White Man,
Yes.
Barfield Steele,
Yeah.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Excuse.
Don Ray Goldsberry.
yes.
7 yes, 1 not voting.
7 yes, 1 not voting, motion passed. So that'll go to full council youth budget. Go ahead, George.
So, Cora, where are we at with the youth budget?
What do you mean, where we at?
Well, I thought some actions got rescinded.
I did
Previously.
the budget that day we met, and we passed it on, and then you guys tabled it because the wrong budget was submitted. But the action that we took when we met together here was that we combined the budgets.
Yeah.
Because they both were trying to do the same thing. So we combined the budgets, and then the right budget was passed on. And then I don't know what happened to after
It
that.
went to council, remember?
Oh, so it should have been
It's,
the last council.
it's part of that, where you guys, the council didn't get quorum on that second day, so it's still sitting on the agenda.
Okay, all right, so, I'll just.
And I guess we have to resubmit for this month, so.
Or if we can move it to Monday, get it done.
Go ahead, Garfield.
Where's the funds coming out of, Cora? Just
It was coming
marijuana?
from the marijuana.
Okay, so, since George, kind of moved the baseball to this item, and it sounds like that's on the council agenda, are we gonna discuss that now? Because like I said, Pigeon said she'd like to be involved and help out in any way, and if she has funds available to make life easier for us in that area, I think we should,
Next week.
allow her to come in and see what portion she could pay for. But back to the equipment part, just the same with the teepees, man. Why are we buying equipment every year? I mean, it seems like we're buying baseball equipment every year. Man, that equipment should last for years. Bats, the gloves, I mean, bases. Because I know in Anderson, we still have our equipment for a long time.
Catcher gear, all the
Yeah,
gear.
so I just don't see how we're buying equipment every year. So if that's included, man, we need to find a way to tag and put that in our property.
Was that from
Tag
here?
Tag and bag. But my motion would be to have, cause Pigeon come in next week and see what portion of the budget she could carry on it.
Are we
Also,
meeting next week?
yes.
Council, okay.
Also, you'll need to make a motion to rescind the motion to stop all funding from the marijuana. Go ahead, Rich.
So Garth, in that budget, that baseball budget, they didn't put equipment. They said they had equipment.
Okay, cool.
We're hearing that teams have to buy equipment, so I don't know, it's really, we could ask Amy that more on that when she comes. But other than that, that's what we signed, seen in the budget, they didn't have equipment, so I know we could, Pigeon Hurt come into this committee, you know, or finance, either one, and ask that question, she come aboard and we're out with that, so.
Do you want to have a meeting next week?
There is a meeting. I confused it with the week after.
Just put them together?
No, that's just how I'm going to finance search, so they have to go to youth in a minute.
Go ahead, Lyle.
So I just want to make a comment. I know last spring when these items came up, we did state in those approvals that the equipment be kept and used again. So I don't know if we can look back, Lynn, and bring that up and find out who has that equipment, because we were specific about them keeping the equipment and making use of it again. Because like what Garth said, we're buying equipment every year, so we put that in our approval.
So the motion right now is to have child care director return with a plan on how she will help.
Yeah, and have her come back with what portion of budget she can assist with. If it's paying for coaches, or if it's paying for equipment, or whatever.
I thought she could only help with kids in her program.
Yeah, she can.
I don't know, she just texted me and said that she would be able to help. So that's why we need her here to see what she can actually help with.
Right, and also the children will need to be enrolled in her program, because when I reached out to her for funding for the camp, she said that she can help with funding if they're enrolled with the child care. So that would encourage them to, the youth to enroll as well. So we have a motion, and is there a second? Second by Don Ray. And this will be brought back next week.
Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Dave Kelly,
Yes.
Lyle Weston, Bull Little White Man,
Yes.
Garfield Steele,
Yeah.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Don Ray Golster,
Yes.
six yes, two not voting.
6 yes, 2 not voting, motion passed. And because the motion, I spoke with the treasurer just now regarding the motion for marijuana. It would have to be made in this committee to rescind the motion to stop funding, spending from the marijuana account for assistance. Or, because that's where the youth fair's money would come from.
Motion?
Motion.
What did you say? Can you say that again, please?
Motion to rescind the spending from the marijuana commission, because there was a motion to stop all
Marijuana
spending.
tax levy.
Okay.
Because it's for youth, right?
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Go ahead.
Who replaced Justin?
Nobody yet.
Nobody?
I was gonna say, I didn't see nothing
So
from Michelle.
who's acting over there?
Uriah.
Uriah.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna motion.
That she's the most responsive and she communicates more.
Okay.
Go ahead, motion, I'll get a shot.
So we have a motion, second? To rescind the motion to stop all funding from the marijuana tax.
I will.
Go ahead.
Oh,
It needs to happen. We need to help our vets and elders and youth and. Put that on record.
Okay. Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Dave Kelly,
Yes.
Lyle Weston, Bull Little White Man,
No.
Garfield Steele,
Not voting.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Don Rego's there.
Not voting.
3 yes, 1 no, 4 not voting.
3 yes, 1 no, 4 not voting, motion passed. Next is assistance, George.
Okay, I just put this on the table for discussion. We don't have it, we don't have it, but I sort of put it out there on the table because I don't appreciate that we somehow, but it's up to the committee, listen to their input. If not, if there says there's nothing there, then it ain't gonna hurt to ask, so I just put it on the agenda.
Treasurer, the ask is for assistance for council representatives to distribute to their community. Is there funding that is available?
That's July.
Okay, we're good on that.
Not until July?
Not until.
The bond payment is paid June 30th, and then I can apply for the surplus on July 1st. It usually takes about a week.
Discussion of assistance. Discussion of discrepancies on funding transfer.
Yeah, that was me. So it was brought to our attention that there was information lost by the treasurer this morning on several accounts concerning IT. Can you explain what happened with all of that?
I think I explained that at council, but those are two separate issues. The funding transfer was a hacked email or whatever from Valentina to Diane. Diane gave the wire transfer information. It was $387,000 or somewhere around there. That was meant for burial program, and we were supposed to send it back. So we got the wire information and we sent it back, and it never got there, or they said they never got it. We had our information showing that it was sent to the address that was given to us by Tina, come to find out, and we reported to the feds and already met with them, that the transfer was made based on the email that was received, but it was a hacked email from Tina Verdanian. And that the way they knew it was hacked was because it should have said Valentina Verdanian at BIA.gov, and it said Valentina Verdanian at BIA-gov.cc. So that was how they figured out that it was a hacked email. And, but that was the email we followed for the wire transfer. So that was the first thing. The second thing was we got several viruses within a week. Not within a week of that, but all in a week we got several viruses from different districts and the tribal office. One of them was, what's it called? Not Fortnite. What's the other game that the kids play? Roblox.
Roblox.
Yeah, one of them was from Roblox, and it crashed our whole system, and I think you guys remember that. Everything was down, they couldn't do checks for a couple days, and whenever it crashed our system, even though we have offsite storage at Markle, or somewhere in Rapid City, we lost so many files. So we had to go back. IT went, they found the virus, they took it out, and there was more than one. And so whenever it crashed our server, then we had to buy a new server and get all the files, what we could from the offsite server and from the cloud server and from our server. We had to rebuild all these programs. The only ones that wouldn't redo was the ones that were on QuickBooks. QuickBooks would not, we could not get any of those files. So revenue had to re-enter everything for the last, I don't know, years, 10 years or something. And Francine had to rebuild some programs from paper from downstairs. She had to rescan them in. John had to rescan from his filing for bank statements. And the loan office had to go through and get information from payroll and from applications and checks from downstairs. They had to copy them and put them all back into the system. But now we have everyone on MIP, so QuickBooks is no longer an issue. And I think we pretty much are moving forward now. I heard you guys talking this morning about the requisition process. And last week, Chuck had it set up for a training for, I believe he's going to start with rural water and transportation because they make big purchases. And the training fell through, the trainer couldn't make it up. So once they reschedule with that trainer, then they'll be one step closer to implementing that requisition module. We've actually had that module for about, I want to say 8 years, and it's never been utilized. I believe that first training when we first got it, Dave, you were at that training. I was at that training. And we never utilized it. We were all excited at that time, but it never came to fruition until now. The inventory is done. And it's on the Tiger, what's it called, Tiger system? Yeah, Tiger, and that has the list of all of our property, including equipment, vehicles, and whatever else, buildings. I think that's pretty much it. Will is asking to plan some cybersecurity training for directors first. I believe he put in a request to be at the next directors meeting.
If you wanted to see it.
Go ahead, Dave.
This is not really related. Nick, I just got to ask for, do we have errors and omissions insurance for those that defraud the tribe financially, and I'm in reference to, the Pat and Mason and Bubby. And have we, my thought being, the funding that was lost on the tribe's behalf, our impact statement should hold a lot of weight, and I haven't seen a draft version of that yet, but when it comes to like Mason, he used, and the defense put it out that way, that he used the tribe's money financially for personal gain, and then I assume all the property of that he held at any point should belong to this tribe. That would be, I gotta refer that one to the attorney, but I do think we should take a stance and possibly go that route and try to recoup whatever loss that we did have financially.
Right, I agree. And this morning, Agent Seymour came over and he said that they'll be doing their, what are they called? Plea agreements at the end of the month.
So we can provide a victim.
So, yeah, so he asked us to provide a victim statement. I know that Sandvin did start one for the tribe. So I asked Tony to contact him, and so we can add to it. Like, they want to know what the taro money is used for and everything. And on Masons, they haven't even done the trial yet, but we are gathering, we do have the information that we sent up there to create the victim impact statement from. And I agree, you've stolen from the tribe all of your property up to the value that you've stolen should belong to the tribe. Even your grandkids.
But Georgia 7, like.
So you can get, like what they're talking about is there's restitution that can be ordered through the criminal case. Generally, they allow people to make payments on that. If you want to seek to essentially get their property, we would have to do a civil action against him. Because generally, in most of the time, in those criminal cases on restitution, they allow them to pay it.
Right.
They do like an ability to pay, and then they can make payments.
Right, and that's what Agent Seymour said would be our next step. After they do their plea agreement, then we can use that victim impact statement and file for a civil suit against them.
Okay, well, you know, if ultimately all three are gonna end up in jail, and in jail, you know, they're gonna offer you work privileges, and the work privileges are gonna pay you 30 to 60 cents a day, and if you owe $5 million to the tribe, that ain't gonna work out for us. My other question is, you know, how come public relations can come in 4 hours a day, claim 4 hours of comp a day, and work, say he can work the full 8? I'm just messing.
And by the way, we do have errors and omissions
Yeah.
insurance, and we have filed on previous cases.
Okay.
I was wondering that too, Dave.
Yeah. We only work 4 hours a day, claim 8, and claim 4 comp time.
But there has been errors and omissions filed in all these.
for it.
None of
Get
the
out on this comp.
only ones we have to wait for a judgment.
Okay,
Yeah.
so does that answer your concern, Anna?
Well, I think Cora basically explained what happened with those breaches and the lost information. I think, you know, it's just very concerning how all these large amounts of money are, you know, going missing from the tribe system. There's no safeguards in place for finances that are being transferred out there, but.
There actually is safeguards in place. And that was from an email from BIA. It looked exactly like your email.
But if there was safeguards, that wouldn't have happened.
And that is the only one.
Is that from the burial program, right?
Yes. And that's under investigation by the feds.
Because I thought you mentioned something about the districts are the reasons why
That was the second
viruses.
issue. They're the reasons for the viruses. The districts, and there was offices down here as well, and one from in here.
But,
I know, I just wanted to
yeah,
get
that
this
basically
off.
answered the information on the lost information.
So that was two separate issues.
Okay.
Okay, so the IT office, I know Cora did want to add the IT office on there. This could also pertain to the MIP system being implemented.
That was the discussion with
So
them.
we're good to go on this one? All right, getting there, you guys, hang in there, we're almost
Well, I
done.
could comment on that.
Go ahead.
So the reason why we were asking IT to come in for finances to discuss the issue on why we don't have that system in place, and I guess according to Property and Supply, it's IT's, there's something going on in the IT where it's not able to get our tribe up to date.
No, they have been working on getting us up to date. We do have more firewalls up. We did have to buy a new server. And I think that we need one more server. Because if we are planning on sending our financials back out to the districts, then we need to make sure that their information is separate from the tribes. because when they have outside access to MIP, that can create breaches. So we want to have them hardwired, not using Wi-Fi, and have them on a separate server.
Yeah, and I think from conversations earlier on the MIP is to get a time frame on when that can be started.
Right. Okay. So, district allocations, Garfield.
I'm requesting to go offline, please.
Okay, before we go into that, what about the district's 4th of July?
Well,
Can we do that one real quick?
I had another one too, remember? The powwows. I don't know, last
Oh, yeah.
year, every year we get money from the tribe for our powwows.
Right.
Can we utilize some of those funds from the same budget? The marijuana budget for our district powwows, or?
That has to be allocated by the council.
Cause usually you guys kick it off in Patrick, and so,
Oh, third weekend in July.
yep, and so that's why I'm trying to see if we could get funds for the district powwows before Patrick kicks off their celebration.
I think what Bomney does theirs in 4th of July. Yeah, but if you look at the marijuana ordinance, the council can allocate money for specific purposes. They do the allocation, which means that they tell us where to put the money. You guys tell us where to put the money. There are priorities in that ordinance, but you guys say, okay, we're going to allocate this much for youth affairs, we're going to allocate this much for elderly and veteran powwows or whatever.
Yeah.
But you guys do that. I don't do that.
So committee, would you guys be okay with allocating some money for the district powwows out of that?
You don't even know what the budget is.
Well, oh yeah.
Do you want to have them bring the budget in
Yeah,
next
can we
Thursday?
put that on next week then, please?
Okay, so we have a motion for marijuana commission to bring in their,
Well, not the marijuana commission.
I mean,
The budget for, you know, the funds,
with the director would bring that in.
yeah, whatever amounts in there.
Wasn't acting, that Uriah? I don't know if she's acting, but yeah. Okay, the most recent.
So I'll just motion to put that on next week.
Okay, so we'll have that on for next week.
Well, we could just put it on, right? Don't have to do a motion, okay?
No. And then 4th of July? Oglala.
Kind of off topic here, but were we gonna get briefed on the situation from yesterday?
Yes, we can do that when we go into executive.
Oh, then we need to get going.
Yeah. 4th of July.
So, 4th of July is coming up, and I know all of our districts, they usually have a 4th of July celebration with fireworks for the community and for a celebration for fireworks display. And so I'm wondering if we could have a discussion on if all the districts would, if we'd be able to get maybe each district 1,500 to purchase firework display, or fireworks for their districts.
We could do that at a district allocation.
So
Is 1,500 good? I mean, I know it's more than good for our district for